Good morning, my friends. How are you? Welcome to another edition of Behind the Mic with me, Mike Avery, here in the Outdoor Magazine radio studio. I'm here behind two mics, not like Zach Galifianakis between two ferns. I'm here behind two microphones. Although we call it just behind the mic, I don't call it behind the mics. I could call it between the mics, behind the mics. No, it's just behind the mic with me, Mike Avery. Anyway, good morning. How are you? Paul, always a pleasure. Craig Plowman, how did you guys do casting for walleye the other night? Or was that last night? Cliff, good morning. How are you? Thanks for joining me on this edition of Behind the Mic. And Craig Plowman, thank you for joining me and Lance Valentine and your friends, Dave and Phil and Lance, trolling on Saginaw Bay. Lance got us into some fish, didn't he? Not a surprise. Uncle Johnny, what is going on with you guys? Why have we not made connections to get together here in the last week or so? And and I were talking about that last night. That has to change. Tim, good morning, buddy. How are you? Thanks for joining me. Craig, we got 6 in an hour or so. Caught my fish using forward-facing sonar. It's a fascinating concept, isn't it, Craig? It's not for everybody. You wouldn't want to take most charter trips out doing that because people want to catch fish. But I get it. For somebody who's fishing for fun, somebody who's had enough trolling, somebody who wants to try something different, having that rod in your hand when the fish hits, I think it's very interesting. Very interesting. We were supposed to do a Wednesday night live tonight on Saginaw Bay walleye trolling in the new 2025 Angler Quest. QUEST with Mr. Angler Quest himself, Brad Dupuis. Also to join us were Bill Hahn of Jay's Sporting Goods and the man who started offshore tackle, Bruce DeShano. I don't think we're going to go tonight. The weather looks a little bit squirrely, so I think we will probably push that Wednesday night live off until next Wednesday. So tonight, instead of being out there on Saginaw Bay, I will likely be in my home studio, my home office, to join you once again at 7 o'clock, and we will do the Wednesday night live on Saginaw Bay next week. Yeah, Doug Ward is something else, isn't he? Doug Ward is right up there. I got the yawns with some of the best out there, no doubt about that. I did talk to Mr. Angler Quest. He's going down to Indiana Friday to pick up my boat. So we're making some progress that direction. In the meantime, I've been playing a lot of golf and actually got discouraged the other day because, I got to work hard to hit a legitimate 200-yard drive. And we took my granddaughter Addison and her boyfriend Craig out. And Craig walks up to the tee and he takes like a half a backswing and hits a 250-yard drive. It's like, why? Why am I doing this? Why am I working so hard to try to get better at this sport? Hannah's excited to fish with Doug Ward in August. Excellent. Interesting. Tim Biz says, don't you say never cancel because of a forecast? Yes, I say that all the time. And what I'm referring to is never cancel the night before because of the forecast for that day. If it's crappy in the morning and it looks like it's going to get crappier and the forecast is for crappier later during that same day, I feel comfortable pushing it back a week. And the thing of it is, because we're trying to shoot video and do a live stream, we could fish because you've got 4 fairly seasoned anglers in the boat, so we could fish. But could we do a decent live stream bouncing around out there in a northeast wind? Yeah, Jim, good morning. Hello, Randy. How are you? Hey, another Randy. You and our good friend Tony have been knocking the snot out of him up in that skinny water. Thank you for keeping me informed. It looked like a lot of fun. Nice pike, too, Randy. Got your food plots in just in time for the rain. Good for you. Bill Hoffman, the most interesting man in Michigan, said, would love to share a round of golf with you. Anytime. Good day, Dennis, to you as well. There's Tony right there. Tony, Randy's on here too. We were just talking about your skinny water. They're not fishing today. I was supposed to be doing a Wednesday night live with Mr. Angler Quest tonight on his Angler Quest out of Linwood Beach Marina. And I think we're going to put it on hold. We're going to postpone it till next week based on the way the weather looks. Going to get a little gnarly out there. So, Bill Garl, hi, Mike, new boat yet? No. But Mr. Angler Quest, Brad Dupuis, has informed me he is heading down to Indiana Thursday and Friday, which would be tomorrow, to pick up my boat. Because the motor was on back order. Now it is here. They're hanging the motor today, and Brad's going to go down and pick up that boat tomorrow. So I'm tied up for the weekend. So probably by next week, I will have that thing in the water. With any luck, they're going to do some testing of that boat while they're down there. With any luck, they'll put 3 hours on it so I can just grab it and troll. Positive mind always. Good morning, Jerry. How are you? Gene, a pleasure. Johnny Bowler. Where in the heck have you been, Johnny? What have you been up to? What have you been doing? How's life? My good friend Johnny Bowler, one of the truly good guys in the world. And we will know on the 23rd or 24th. I'm not sure yet. I'm not clear on this because I've seen both in print or I've seen both online. Either the 23rd or the 24th, we will find out about our Michigan bear and elk tags. If you're looking for a bear guide in the Newberry district, this guy right here, Johnny Bowler, he's a great choice. Justin, good morning, buddy. How are you? Justin? Okay, Justin. Justin will know what that means. Hey, Randy, how you doing, my friend? I don't need sun for a beauty shot. I'm not worried about the sun. In fact, I've always said I would prefer a nice flat light, slightly overcast for either video or stills. But it's the waves, it's the wind, it's the bumpiness that gets to be a concern. Because once we're in the Angler Quest, you won't see the outside of it anyway. Yeah. Morning, Mike. How are you? Brian. Arthur, come in here. Thought he was going to sneak by.
Tried.
This guy right here thought he was going to sneak by me this morning.
I tried.
I like that shirt.
Thank you.
That's a good on-camera shirt right there.
Oh, yeah.
Art Lewis, WSGW. How's life, Art?
It's been good, actually.
Good?
Can't complain.
If you did, would anybody listen?
Woke up above the grass this morning.
That's right. It beats the alternative, right?
It sure does.
Arthur, we will see you for the outing, golf outing.
Yep.
Friday, July 25th in West Branch.
Looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it as well.
All right, buddy.
Member of the Broadcast Hall of Fame right here, Art Lewis, WSGW, AM and FM.
The best, right there.
Right there. Do this. Bump him.
Boom, boom.
Have a good day, buddy. Mike, good morning. How are you? Okay, Brian, Monday night, limit in skinny water. Tuesday morning, marked tons of fish, but no fish. Got skunked. That's the way it goes, doesn't it, Brian? And I'm glad to have a fellow skinny water angler on here with us this morning, as well as Randy Krakowski and as well as Tony Wint. I love that skinny water. Yeah, it is good news. I'm looking forward to it. Paul says he's hearing thunder already down there. It's thundering out here right now. Justin knows what I'm talking about. Been busy and lately looking for more bear ground. Johnny, does that mean you're going to be able to take more bear hunters? I understand, Johnny, that you will be guiding, at least I think you will, Michelle Plowman and Craig Plowman. What I'd like you to do, Johnny, is make sure you put Michelle on the best bait that you have. And Craig, the second best bait that you have. Bernie, good morning. How are you? Mike, always a pleasure. You as well, Judy. You have an amazing day. Johnny, Paul says, Johnny, I saw you brookie fishing. And there's a crying emoji, crying with tears, laughing. I don't know what the story is there. I will wait to find out more about that. Okay, a couple things to talk about here. Summer. Summer officially starts according to the calendar. Sometimes I get the yawns lately. And I believe his brother. Oh, his brother too. Okay. So you're going to have 3 Plowmans up there. You're going to have your hands full, Johnny. Summer starts Friday, officially. But you can tell we've kind of slipped into a summer weather pattern now. although still the northeast winds on Saginaw Bay. Fortunately, that is keeping the water temps down on the bay. So maybe the fact that, let me make myself a note here, and golf. Maybe the fact that I'm getting a late start on the season won't be such a big deal because the water temps are down, holding the fish in that skinny water. And the inner bay, in fact. Randy, coming home from Wisconsin on July 3rd. Of course, I always stop at Rapid River. Did you ever talk about that one? Do you mind if I talked? Do you mind if I talk to the about a Wednesday Night Live? With Chris, you mean? I would love to. We've already done one Wednesday Night Live at Rapid River. The problem is, and it's the same problem we have at Jay's Sporting Goods. To do a Wednesday Night Live at 7 o'clock, the stores have closed and people are gone. 14 inches. Wow. So I'd love to. No, I don't mind if you talk to Chris, but I talk to Chris all the time. I talked to Chris this morning. I'll be talking to Chris today on the radio show. But yes, feel free. 14-inch brookie. Wow. Brian, last week in Ontario, Spring Bear went 11 for 11. Good job. Good morning, Scott. Tommy, good morning. How are you? Johnny, I have a lot of first and second season bear hunters. Just call if you want to have more spots. Just want to have more spots. Good morning, Mike. How are you? Is it raining over there, Mike? Okay. So, I told you I think we're going to put tonight's Wednesday Night Live on Saginaw Bay on hold because of the weather. It was supposed to be me fishing on Mr. Angler Quest, QUEST, Brad Dupuis' boat, along with Bill Hahn of Jay's Sporting Goods, and along with Bruce DeShano, the guy who started Offshore Tackle. I think we're going to put it on hold till next week and see how things go. So as a result, Wednesday Night Live tonight will be from the home studio, from the home office, and I will also then record an Angler Quest podcast with Brad Dupuis today. We were going to wait until next week. Scott, camping trip to Clear Lake next week. Ever fished up there, Mike? I have not, Scott, but have fun. Mike says it's raining, more to come. Craig says, Johnny Bowler, my brother, is not coming this year. You know, I didn't get a lot of sleep last night, and I'm feeling it now. And I try to get, especially Tuesday nights, I try to get a real good night of sleep Tuesday night because Wednesday is my work day. I know I work more than just Wednesday, but Wednesday's my big day. And yeah, I don't like to be yawning in here in front of you, and certainly not during the show. Johnny says it's dry and hot here, going to get hotter the next 2 days, send some rain up here. It's a lot cooler today, Johnny. Sorry, it's a lot cooler today down here, Johnny, than it has been, and it looks like it's raining out there now. We got more to come. Yeah, it was starting to get, and it's still pretty dry down here. Randy said it's raining hard in southwest Saginaw Township, which is right down that way from me. Okay? Not very far from where I am right now, so it's coming. Probably a good move to push back Wednesday Night Live on the Bay tonight. Okay. I told you that Mr. AnglerQuest Brad Dupuis is going down to Indiana tomorrow to pick up my boat. So I should be on that by early next week. You may have seen the post that I put out there about last weekend, Sunday, in fact, it was, in Mason at the Michigan State Trap Shooting Fairgrounds grounds. I was there Sunday to watch my grandson Carter shoot trap for the local high school trap team. The high school teams shot Saturday and Sunday. Because his high school, their coach wasn't able to do it this year, the shooters from his high school transferred over to the other high school in town, making them a very big team. So they were considered one of the bigger teams, so they shot on Sunday. So my point is, it was a wonderful event. Oh, it's Juneteenth tomorrow. What the hell is Juneteenth? And I don't care. Calendar just told me that though. There was 1,000 kids down there. They each shot 100 rounds. So that means more than roughly 100,000 rounds were shot at that event by high school kids. There was not one act of violence. There was not one mass shooting. There was not an accidental discharge. There was no disrespect at all. In fact, it was the most respectful group of kids you'll ever see, and they were all armed. There was kids walking around there with shotguns over their shoulders. There was kids walking around there with shotguns held, pointing at the sky. Shotguns pointed at the ground. Everything was safe. It was beautiful. It was wonderful. So don't ever fall to the statement of kids and guns are bad, or it's dangerous to have guns in the hands of kids. It's not. Not if those kids are trained, not if those kids are taught respect. It was a wonderful, wonderful event. And high school trap shooting, or trap shooting in general, is the fastest growing high school sport in Michigan. It was wonderful. No violence, no accidents, no mass shootings. And there was 1,000 kids there, and they shot 100,000 rounds, and nothing bad happened. In fact, only good things happened. Jerry, I made it. Was out fishing till 5 a.m. Paul, mid to upper 90s forecast for next week. No, thank you. Bernie, we got dumped on this morning at 5:30 with lots of wind. Scott says, thankful for the rain. Good morning, Danny. Danny of the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. Thank you. Danny, how are you? Johnny says, I can't believe I didn't send you a picture of the trout. I'll send you 2 different 14-inchers. Mine was the biggest. I can't believe you didn't send it to me either, Johnny. So what is Juneteenth? It would be great to see trap shooting in every school, wouldn't it, though? Interestingly enough, Bernie, where we live, you know that one school that is southwest of town? You know, the initials are BC. They wanted nothing to do with a high school trap team. So the shooters from that school had to go to the other school and shoot with the other school. Here's another interesting thing, too. You know that local gun club in town? They wanted nothing to do with hosting the high school trap shooting team. Morning, Michael. How are you? Paul says Juneteenth was the abolishment of slavery, I think. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm glad slavery has been abolished. Corey, good morning. How are you? I'm doing great. How are you? Hey, Charlie. Valley Lutheran had a team at the Michigan High School Trap Shooting Association.
Yes.
Very,
Very good kids.
very nice.
They're involved. Safely.
Safely. That's the key thing. Safely and with respect. Brian, good morning to you. How are you? Nice to have you along with us on this edition of Behind the Mic. What else is on my list? Okay. The golf outing is Friday, July 25th. Go to mucc.org/golf. You want to know who's on the show this week? I'm surprised Paul hasn't asked because I only have 2 minutes. And I forgot to take an allergy pill this morning. Ryan Raymond is my first guest this week. He is the new Michigan Friends of NRA director. They put $113,000 into that event over the weekend. Plus, they are making grants available to high school trap shooting teams for ammo and supplies. So we'll talk to him about that and more. Then Dawn Levy of the Michigan Wildlife Council. In our second hour, a little late, Paul, Chris Durson of Rapid River Knives talks about their recent Idaho bear hunt, about expansions at the Rapid River plant, and, of course, about the progress of the Mike Avery signature Rapid River knife. Then Steve Wyndham from MUCC talks about the recent NRC meeting, and he also has a preview of some other events. The Ask Avery question. Is that rain, Charlie? It is. Oh, it's pouring here now. The Ask Avery segment is a very good one. I don't have time to go into it, but I will later. And then in the third hour, Sir Lancelot, Lance Valentine, talks about trolling. I had a chance to troll with him last week, and it was a very interesting experience. And, of course, we wrap it all up with Wild Game Chef Extraordinaire, Dixie Dave Miner. I have new headphones, Charlie,
5 seconds.
because you broke my old ones.
It was my fault. 3, 2, 1.
Blast off.
I shall bear the responsibility.
Charlie didn't really break them. I didn't need much of a nudge either. He said, I think your headphones are bad. So I got new ones. Oh, they sound good. Actually, they sound very good. So, I will be back tonight at 7 o'clock for another edition of Wednesday Night Live. We will not be on Saginaw Bay as had been originally planned. As a result, Charlie, I am doing an Angler Quest podcast today. Okay. So we'll do the Wednesday Night Live on the Bay next week. I will be in my home studio tonight. The new Angler Quest comes at the end of the week. Hey, JT, how you doing, buddy? All right, my friends, I got to go. Have a good day. Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to another edition of the Outdoor Magazine radio show. Right here on the Outdoor Magazine radio network on more than 30 radio stations across the great state of Michigan. Charlie, I have to thank you for giving me the nudge to get new headphones. These sound good. These sound good. Thank you, Charlie. He's like, I think you need new headphones. I think the other ones are bad. I'm like, okay, let's try it. Tried a new set last week, new pair last week. They just weren't right. Exchanged them for these. These are good. I like these. Thank you, Charlie Root. Okay, my friends, so as you are hearing this radio show, it is now officially summer. Now, you have to admit, the last few days have kind of felt like summer anyway, right? Because the weather patterns have finally changed. I think. Let's see what the next few days hold in store. Still a lot of northeast winds. And again, I hope we're not setting the stage, setting the scene for northeast winds all summer long. I was supposed to do last week a Wednesday Night Live on Saginaw Bay with Mr. Angler Quest, Brad Dupuis, on his 2025 Angler Quest QUEST, fishing out of Linwood Beach Marina for Saginaw Bay walleye. The plan was to have Bill Hahn of Jay's Sporting Goods join me, and also the chairman of the boards, Bruce DeShano, the guy who started Offshore Tackle, was really looking forward to that event. But as we're here, and that was supposed to happen tonight. As I'm here in the studio, it was supposed to happen tonight. But the weather is just a little bit screwy, and the forecast for this afternoon doesn't look so great. So I think we have put it on hold. Now, somebody told me in the live stream this morning, the Behind the Mic segment, and this is true. He said, in fact, it was Tim Binns. He says, Mike, I thought you always say never cancel a fishing trip based on a forecast. And I stand by that. But what I'm talking about is the night before. Unless it's calling for gale force winds and small craft, then you're pretty safe not canceling. But I'm saying if the weather forecast for the next day is a little iffy the night before, hold off. That's my advice. However, when you get a forecast in the morning of the same day and you can look out with your own eyes and see, all right, it doesn't look good, then I feel comfortable in postponing a trip. And that's what we are doing for Wednesday Night Live. Wednesday Night Live will now be this Wednesday coming up on Saginaw Bay with Mr. Angler Quest QUEST, Brad Dupuis. And Brad did give me a little word of encouragement, too. He says, guess what? He said, your boat's done. The motor that had been on back order that we've been waiting for is here. We hung the motor. I'm going down to pick it up. Thank you, Mr. Angler Quest, Brad Dupuis. All right, so the coolest thing that happened to me this last week since we've talked is I was able to go down to Mason, Michigan, to the Michigan High School Trap Shooting Tournament. There were shooters there from across the state. There were more than 1,000 shooters there from across the state. I was down there because my grandson Carter was shooting in that event. Now, Carter is a senior who just graduated, so this was his last one. So we went down there with Carter, watched him shoot, and watched his team shoot as well. They shot on Sunday because there are two high schools in the town where I live, and this year the coach for the high school where Carter goes or went or graduated from wasn't able to coach. So the shooters from our high school jumped over to the other high school, and the other high school graciously embraced them. So that made a pretty good size team, and the bigger teams shot on Sunday. So we were down there on Sunday. It was a very wonderful and impressive event. Don't let anybody ever tell you that kids and guns is a problem, because it's not. Uneducated kids and disrespectful kids with guns could potentially be a problem, but not this event. 1,000 shooters, they all shot 100 rounds, so you're talking about 100,000 rounds shot. Not one act of violence, not one mass shooting, not even a negligent discharge. Nothing. 100,000 rounds out of 1,000 kids. It was common to see a young person walking along the road there, going to their trap field with a shotgun slung over their shoulder, or with cradling in their arms, pointing it to the sky, or cradling it in their arms, pointing toward the ground, carrying it safely. And nobody gave it a second thought because we knew nothing bad was going to happen. Because these kids had been taught respect for shooting, for the gun, and respect for others. They had been taught how to shoot safely, and they had been taught the skill of shooting trap, a lifelong sport. I can't say enough about this. What a wonderful experience it was. I walked around the whole day with a smile on my face, and I kept thinking, for all the people in the news business, right? The I don't even know what to call it these days, who talk about how it's dangerous to put guns in kids' hands. No, it's not. It's dangerous to put guns in kids' hands who haven't been trained and taught and don't have respect. It was wonderful. We will know early next week here in Michigan whether you got your bear or elk tag. You didn't get an elk tag, I'm telling you right now. You may have gotten your bear tag, but you didn't get an elk tag. Just go into it with that mindset. You didn't get your elk tag, and if you did happen to lightning hit you on top of the head and get your elk tag, then it's all good. I did not put in for a bear tag. I put in for a bear point because it is my intent here in about a month, actually a little less now, to go to White River, Ontario to hunt bears with Ron St. Louis of Northern Wilderness Bear Outfitters. Ron will be on the show with me next week. So if you didn't get a Michigan bear tag, Ron or some other Ontario outfitter might still have room for you. And the elk, good luck on that one. I will get a Michigan elk tag some point in my life, but it will be through the Pure Michigan Hunt. The golf outing is coming up fast here now. It's just over a month away. Go to mucc.org/golf to sign up, mucc.org/golf. The Rapid River plans on the Rapid River knife progress, I should say. I will find out here shortly, as you do, because Chris Durson of Rapid River is on the show. In fact, here's the lineup for the show this week. My first guest, Ryan Raymond, who is the new director of Michigan Friends of NRA. Now, they are associated with NRA, but they're more of the education and promotion arm of NRA. In fact, Friends of NRA put more than $100,000 into that Michigan high school trap shooting event last weekend. And they have grants available for high school trap shooting teams to pay for ammo and supplies. So we'll talk to Ryan about that. Then Dawn Levy of the Michigan Wildlife Council. In our second hour, that conversation with Chris Durson, I want to find out how their Idaho bear hunt went. Chris had a big promotion, and they gave away an Idaho bear hunt for a color bear in Idaho. I followed it online. It looked like a great hunt. We will talk to Chris about that. Also, a lot of changes at Rapid River. the facilities themselves. If you've been up there, you'll know what a impressive place that is. Well, he's expanding it again. And then, of course, we'll find out the progress on the Mike Avery signature Rapid River Knife, with proceeds going to a group called Outdoor Driven to get veterans and first responders in the outdoors to help them deal with some of the stuff that they've had to see and deal with throughout their career. Uh-oh, Charlie. Uh-oh. A little noise in that. Switch my input if you hearing that? So it wasn't my phone. So you made me spend all that money on headphones. It's gone now. Charlie's like, it's not my money. Well, I didn't need new headphones, but once Charlie brought it up, I thought, yeah, I think I do need new headphones. So we'll talk to Chris, and then Steve Wyndham of MUCC. He will have a report from 2 weeks ago now, last week, NRC meeting in Bay City. What happened there? Did they address the coyote issue or not? And then the Ask Avery segment. It's a good one this week. It's questioning why we have so many fish and game laws. I've asked the same question. If we're trying to encourage people to get outdoors, encourage people to go hunting and fishing, why does it sometimes feel like it's so hard to do it legally? Well, we'll talk about that. And then in hour number 3, Sir Lancelot, Lance Valentine. I finally had the chance to fish with Lance on Saginaw Bay, trolling for walleye last week. To see this guy in action was a real treat. I want to talk to him about that, his mindset, his thinking, why he does things the way he does. And then we'll wrap it all up with wild game chef extraordinaire, Dixie Dave Miner. My name is Mike Avery. This show is called Outdoor Magazine. My website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. That's MikeAveryOutdoors.com. My email address is Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. I would love to hear from you. Show me your pictures. Send me your pictures, your questions, your comments, your stories. Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. We'll take a break. When we come back, Ryan Raymond of Michigan Friends of NRA coming up right here on Outdoor Magazine. Charlie, would you switch my input again? Okay. Bernie, I know. Tim, JT, Paul, Sir Lancelot, we'll talk to you shortly. Good morning, Matt. How are you? Oh, excellent. Ruben, how are things in Colorado? Mickey, good morning. Hello, John, Ricky, Jay Wadersky. Yes, I didn't get a chance to mention it, but we will. MUCC's youth camp is where the proceeds from the golf outing will go. All right, my friends, I will not be on Saginaw Bay tonight. I don't think the weather's going to allow, so we will push it back to next week. As a result, I will be in my home studio tonight at 7 o'clock for another edition of Wednesday Night Live. In the meantime, have a great day, my friends.